We're live. See if anybody decides to pop in, and then we'll get started. Anybody at all? Oh, wait a minute. Forgot to turn on the. There we go. That's better. Nobody yet. Anyway, while we wait for folks to show up, of course, welcome to the chat. Been doing this every week for a little while now. Trying to occupy some of my time and perhaps some of your time during this little incident we're going through here, through most of the world. And, just another free for all for everybody. Oh, there's some people. Bartholomew. Bartholomew Bob, the Mariner. I always love that name. The man, the myth, the legend. That's me. The man, the myth, and somewhat the legend. We'll allow that one. Yeah. Hey, NASCAR. Well, where were you on Lou's stream this morning? I thought you'd be on there just to beat the crap out of me. And I know, I know. Um, I don't know that Kyle Busch turned Chase for no reason. He's come on social media and said it was an accident. He apologized for it. I'm going to take the man at his word. Um, I watched the incident live and I watched multiple replays. It looked like he just flat misjudged it. I mean, he is the goat. I mean, he is the man. He is a wheel man. But everybody makes mistakes, man. So I think it's an honest mistake. I don't think he meant to do it. I know Chase was pissed off and gave him and he deserved it. But I'm going to take Kyle Busch at his word that it was an accident. It looked like an accident to me. Um, what can I say? He didn't win the race. I mean, second place in auto racing is the first loser. So what can we do? Chase Elliott with the California Howdy. Oh, okay. And shooting birds in California Howdy. Yeah, that makes sense. Hey, Tennessee, Mike, how you doing? Thanks for stopping by. What can I say? Now the whole circus, the Cup Series packs up and goes to Charlotte for the Coke 600. That's going to be really weird without fans, but it is what it is. Although I think, is it this afternoon or tonight? Let me look real quick. Where is schedule? We'll get the schedule here. Well, the Xfinity race is starting right now, so there's going to be an Xfinity race, and I believe Kyle Busch is in it. He's probably in the back. So they're not running qualifying. I just think that's crazy. Well, he's in the 54 car, so they haven't. I don't know what the lineup is. He's 26th. So Kyle Busch is starting 26th in the Xfinity race. He'll win. No problem. Nick D, Ola, man, how you doing? NASCAR well says he had plenty of room behind him. Mr. Restart either made a huge mistake or he did on purpose. Chase should put Kyle on the fence. Okay, well, at some point, Chase probably will try to put Kyle on the fence. Usually, Kyle is ahead of Chase, so that's not really going to be much of an issue. I think, I mean, I'm a Kyle Busch fan. I admit that completely. And I tend to give Kyle Busch the benefit of the doubt in most situations, although in some, not so much. But I watched the race. I watched the replay. I was watching the race. It looked like an honest misjudgment. It looked like an honest mistake. if you've ever seen inside those cars, I'm sure you have, you know that they can't really move their heads very much, strapped to that Hans device with those things all around their head. And he misjudged it. It was an obvious misjudge, and Chase was wrong place, wrong time. But you know, I think it was a mistake. But if you want to think he did, I don't know that Kyle and Chase have ever had any animosity ever in all of the time Chase has been up in the big leagues. So I can't remember a time where they had animus against each other. So I don't see why there would be that. But you're entitled to your opinion. Thank you everybody for clicking the thumbs up. But if I'm looking over here, to what appears to be to one side is, I just set up a dual monitor system yesterday. My iMac is right in front of me here, and I have an LG monitor over here. The video is on the LG. My iMac is where the chat. Um, I broke the chat window out so I could see it, and I'm looking right at the camera, right at the chat, since that's where most of the activity is. So if I look over here, it's to see if I have any likes or anything like that, how long they've been going. That's over on this screen. So that's why I'm looking over to, well, my left, your perhaps your right. I'm not sure. Private, welcome, man. I appreciate it. Private is one of my most thoughtful commenters. Usually, when he makes a comment on one of my videos, it's usually a very well thought out comment. So I appreciate that. And he's here, and you did actually make it today, so I thank you for that. Nick D said, I have never watched a single NASCAR race. Oh, I'm sorry to hear that, man, but I think if you like cars, you'd enjoy it. If you're not a car guy, then you're probably not. So that's all I can say about that. I mean, you don't have to be a car person to like racing, but it does help. Mr. 3D printing himself, Jerry is here. How you doing, man? I love the stuff you're putting out, man. I think I might have to get one of those little signs that Rob has on his desk now. You did those, right? The flipper for life and the hoarder for life, or keeper for life, or whatever it said. That was your work, right? Slim Shady, my favorite hurricane fan. Well, I'm gonna have to put you at 1B, Slim Shady, because my my family attorney actually graduated from the University of Miami, so she's got to be my 1A favorite because she keeps my interests, um, uh, you know, clean. So, but one of my top two favorite Miami Hurricane fans. He's a trucker, so of course he's gonna think the trucks are better than cars, but I'm gonna have to disagree a little. Although I gotta have my man the respect for truckers. I mean, they do a job, man. Watch me unboxing. Ivan, my friend Ivan, he's here today. Ivan, those two watches you sent me should be here this afternoon, so I'm looking forward to those. Ivan, if you're wondering if you've been watching a lot of my watch videos lately, Ivan Innes, who owns Iconic Timepieces and is in the Watch Me Unboxing channel, and does weekly live streams. Um, he's been supplying me with a lot of micro brand and small manufacturer watches lately that I've been reviewing. Um, so I really appreciate him sending watches in that I get to play with, um, and help me once or twice lining up a few of my purchases. And he's providing great content for my channel, so I really appreciate that. Um, Thanks for making it in here. Let's see. Nick D says, I got a question. Why are all of the cars basically the same, just different brand? That's a good question. NASCAR has a spec, not a spec body, but they have three different manufacturers. They have Ford, Chevy, and Toyota. They had Dodge on and off. Anyway, they base their race cars off of body styles. I think the Currently, the Ford is based off the current Mustang. Chevy's based off the Camaro, and I believe in the Cup series, the Toyota is based off the Camry, and in the Xfinity is based off of the Supra. And what they do is they develop a body that somewhat looks like the bodies of the production cars, although they're basically skins over a roll cage, and they have templates that go on the cars that NASCAR uses to make sure all the cars are basically the same via the template, and they use engines that the race teams develop based on engine blocks from the manufacturers. And there's a rule book about 10 miles long and 14 miles thick that they have to obey. And, you know, then they produce the cars based on the rules and based on the templates and based on the body styles, and so on. And, there's not a lot of wiggle room in a lot of these cars, but the crew chiefs and the mechanics always seem to find something. Private says he wants to discuss the NTH brand. Go ahead. You know, with Ivan from Watch Me Unboxing in here, that he's going to be able to give me some good input on that too. Jerry, to my question about whether he did those little signs for Random Rob, he said yes, and he says he's got to be covered if I want to buy one. I'll let you know. Private, I like the Barracuda Vintage Black and the Amphion Vintage Gilt. Great watches. I've really got to try and get an NTH into the channel, and you know, maybe someone will loan me one or something. But I really got to get one in the channel and review that because they look like fantastic watches. But you're wondering about price, Private. Instead of around 400 like many other brands, it costs more like 675. I think that's because of the parts. I believe that a lot of the parts that NTH are using are higher quality parts than a lot of their compatriots. I think they're using things like, I think they're using sapphire crystals, they're using uprated movements. That's usually why the prices are higher. Ivan's going to be sending me a Mitchell Timepiece Raider in the next day or two. That's good. Hey, Ivan, keep them coming, man. The more you send me, the happier I am. Just at some point, you're going to have to give me a place to send those watches back to, because right now I'm going to have 3. They got to go somewhere. I'm going to run out of storage space. You want to have a discussion about whether and why it's worth almost $300 more. Okay. I think, well, if NTH is choosing to use better materials than, say, I don't know what's comparable to an MTH, you know, I think Zelos is probably somewhat comparable in terms of materials. Ivan for Watch Me Unboxing would love to, you know, he'd love to help you out on that. But I think it's going to come down to the materials that NTH uses versus, say, a Seiko. Might make a similar watch, but instead of a sapphire crystal, they use a Hardlex. Instead of a ETA movement, they'll use, of course, one of their own movements, and they might use like a more down market movement, like the NH35 or the NH36. So it's all going to come down to the parts and pieces, of course. You know, that's always going to be the difference. Well, I mean, if you're using a Seiko movement versus an ETA movement, I mean, just pop over to Zelos website. I mean, I know I'm a Zelos fanboy, but you know, that's a great example. If you pop over to Zelos and you look at like the ZX line there, the chronograph line, you'll see 2 versions of the chronograph. You see a Mecha Quartz version, which uses a Seiko Mecha Quartz movement for, you know, and then you'll see the same watch with the ETA movement. Or I think, no, not ETA, sorry, a Valjoux movement, a Swiss movement. And it's like $300-400 higher, $500 higher. And it's down to the movement. So there you go. Nick D says, so it's basically like a giant pine wood derby competition. No, NASCAR is not like a soapbox derby. I mean, obviously, the teams can do all kinds of things within the rules. They can play with the suspension quite a bit. Um, they build their own engines, so they might have a tweak here and there. I mean, these are not spec cars. I mean, they have rules to try and equalize them as much as they can, but I mean, it comes down to, who's developing the car, who has more resources in most cases. And of course, it comes down to the driver. I mean, for example, my guy Kyle Busch is a wheel man of he's a great driver. I mean, he is the winningest driver in NASCAR history right now. But if you stick him in inferior equipment, he may not do so good. I mean, and he's in one of the best race teams on the circuit, Joe Gibbs Racing. And if Joe Gibbs, if they happen to produce a bad car that day, and they can't get it to handle and they can't get it to turn, and it's down on or it's down on power, all the talent in the world isn't going to overcome bad equipment. You know, it's like if you give a bad bat to Barry Bonds, he's not going to crank out a home run. If you give if Tom Brady's receivers are having bad days, he can be the most accurate passer in the universe. But if his receivers keep dropping balls, you know, you're only as good as your equipment. You're only as good as your team. So there's a hell of a lot more to it than building a spec car and turning and pushing the start button. Um, no, Private. I know you're not judging. But Ivan over at Watch Me knows more about the NTH than I do, and he's definitely a guy. I mean, if you want to have the discussion here, Ivan helped me out. A little. We don't have to go into a deep dive on it, but if you got a few insights beyond what I said about the parts and the pieces making up the watch, um, help me out with that. I appreciate it. XCal, yeah, you made it. I appreciate you stopping by, of course. Um, Private saying the parts are the same on the Zelo Swordfish or Trasker Freediver or the Scarfa Bell Diver. Well, if they're the same, then I guess it comes down to who can make them manufacture them the most efficiently. Manufacturing, the cost to build the watch is definitely going to be factored um, into the cost of the watch, and it's also maybe the number of watches that are made. I mean, if you make more watches, you can sell them cheaper and still keep your same profit margins. I mean, that's simple economics. So, I mean, Private, it's a great question, and the problem is that there's so many different variables. I mean, we could. I'm hoping Ivan will jump in. Ivan actually jumped in. Many brands are way undervalued, and Chris at NTH actually prices in a way for his brand to grow. Many brands selling watches for cheap is actually hurting the industry. That makes sense. I mean, Ivan, you've talked about Chris before and how he is producing watches that not only the watch community wants, but he's also pricing them in a way that he still makes money and he can still feed his family, but he's definitely pricing to make his brand grow. I think that's what Elshin is doing over at Zelos. He's making a lot of great watches, but he's not building. He's not pricing them out in the stratosphere. I mean, he did recently release a very limited Halo watch made out of some really exotic materials and using a really high-end tourbillon movement. But for the most part, his watches are built to sell and to make money as much as they are to be great quality watches, and they're really backed by great customer service, just like NTH. Slim Shady coming back. He's not talking about big rigs. He's talking. He'll line up his '03 Dakota with the 6.2 Hemi against anyone. 6.2 supercharged Hemi. Okay, so yeah, that's a great motor. I mean, no doubt. I think that 6.2 Hemi and a Dodge Dakota with a blower, against say my supercharged Saleen, that would be a good race. I think I'd give you a good race. I might be down a little on power, but I weigh less. So yeah, that could be a good race. '03 Dakota is not a lightweight vehicle, but you know what? With that motor in it, I wouldn't mind putting one of those in my garage. I would have plenty of room for family and friends, and still have plenty of giddy up. Um, so that sounds like a great vehicle. You should post a picture of that somewhere. I'd love to take a look at that. NASCAR Ball is talking back to Nick D. Um, and about the splitter. Yeah, I forgot about the splitter. You can definitely adjust the front splitter to manipulate the airflow of the car, which definitely helps with the handling. NASCAR, I agree. Kyle has been off for so far this season. He hasn't done well. He did well last night. I know that's a sore spot for you right now. I appreciate that, but second place from starting at 26th. Uh, that is not bad. That's an improvement. I hope we can continue to improve. I mean, we're still early in the season, so let's see what Kyle does during the summer and the fall. Um, he's got some tracks coming up which are favorable to his driving style, so hopefully Kyle will get back on his game, and love for him to repeat as champion, but we'll see. Private's gonna, I guess, Ivan Private's gonna email you later. He also said, but many other watches have the same parts. It has a Miota movement, but that is an expensive Swiss motor. I guess you're talking about the NTH. And Ivan is saying, yeah, they both use the same materials as most micro brands. The manufacturing company does a fantastic job of finishing work, but yeah, the factors that go into it is that he made a name for himself. Are you talking about Chris, or are you talking about Elshin, or are you talking about both? Syrup maker, welcome, man. I'm doing well, and my family is doing very well. Right now, we're in the middle of our May birthday celebrations. Actually, yesterday was my mom's birthday, and Saturday is my younger daughter's birthday. So we were doing a couple of birthdays this week. Plus, we had Mother's Day, which also, so there's been a lot of gift giving in my household lately. Um, but everyone's doing well. I hope everyone in the chat, all of you are healthy and safe, and so are your families and your friends. Um, Definitely hope that is the case. How you doing, Desire? Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it. Let's see. Ivan also says, and his brand popularity allows him to charge what he charges. I assume you're still talking about Chris. Well worth the money. There is so much competition out there. All of us brands have thinned our margins way too much. And you got to remember, guys, Ivan over at Watch Me Unboxing is a micro brand watchmaker himself. He owns iconic timepieces. And full disclosure, I am a backer of his um, Kickstarter campaign. I have purchased one of his watches. I'm actually backer number 4 out of, I think, 75 or 80. I did a video on the watch, the prototype recently. If you want to go back and watch that, it was the Halocline or Halocline. Not sure how to pronounce it. So that's a really nice dive watch. I'm really looking forward to getting my production watch. And then he also says he's going to send me back the prototype so I can do a video comparing the two, which nobody I think has ever really done before. So I'm looking forward to that. Private, that's a good question. Are you paying for the name NTH but getting the same quality as a $400 watch? That's very subjective, Private. I mean, that's an excellent question, but it's such a subjective question. I mean, are you paying for a pair of Levi's jeans, but the Walmart brand is just as good? When I buy a Zelos, for example, or I buy a Seiko or I buy a Long Island Watch brand watch, I'm paying for the watch to be sure, and I'm paying for the materials, but I'm also paying for the brand itself. I'm paying for, in my opinion, I'm paying for the customer service, especially when it comes to the micro brands like uh, like Zelos and like um, Iconic. I mean, I am in close contact constantly with Ivan over at Iconic because of what I do with this channel, what he does with his channel. You know, we're part of the watch reviewers group. Which, by the way, Ivan, I would really like my name to start appearing on the watch reviewers website. Hint, hint. Um, and I'm in constant contact with Elshin over at Zelo. So I enjoy the access that I have to these people and being able to talk to them and give ideas to them and so on. And so I'm willing to pay for that access. And I think they're fantastic watches. Both companies, they're great guys to deal with, both guys. And yeah, I'm paying for the name and I'm paying for the watch. But that's me, somebody who is not as cares doesn't care as much about that. May object to paying a slight premium for a particular watch just because of the name. So there you go. It's very subjective. Uh, some shady says took the motor from a rear-ended wrecked Hellcat. Oh, okay. So you got the Hellcat motor in a Durango. Oh, Jesus. That thing must be a riot to drive. I'm envious. I would, I would love a ride in that thing. I mean, that must be a absolute riot to drive. Congratulations on that. I bet finding wrecked Hellcats is not hard to do because that's a lot of car for most people. Too much car for the vast majority. Watch, Ivan says, I think the way it goes is that when you buy those $400 watches, you're getting a $600 watch. That's a fair point. I think, the brand I have experience with Zelos. I keep saying it. I am. Again, I'm a shameless Zelos fanboy. I'm sorry. I think that Zelos it makes a really, really fantastic product, and I think they could probably charge more for it. But Elshin is charging a fair price for his product, and we appreciate it. I think you're right, Ivan. Chris and Elshin are using the same manufacturer. Um, Private saying the exact point I want to discuss is, is the comment, is it well worth the money? And no, you're not taking over the chat, sir. I mean, this is a free for all. I fire these chats up for, exchange of ideas. This is good, you know, and I appreciate Ivan helping me out because he's in the business of making watches and I'm not. So, and he knows Chris over at NTH and I don't. So that helps. Um, no, you don't have to stop. Just keep going. I mean, if Ivan's willing to talk to you and I'm willing to talk to you, I mean, we're here to talk. And there are other people asking other questions, so I'm good. Um, I mean, I'm still hung up on my friend Slim Shady and his swapped out Hellcat Durango. I mean, damn. Um, oh yeah, he has his own brand, Private. It's called Iconic Timepieces. If you go to that video of the Helicline that I did, I think it was like last week. There are links to Ivan's his channel on YouTube and his website, so you can take a look at that stuff there if you're interested. Um, Ivan, which video are you looking forward to? the comparison between the production helicline and a prototype. Um, but, hey, whatever I did that caused you to thank me, Ivan, you're welcome. I appreciate you, and I appreciate all you're doing for my channel because you're right now you're feeding me a lot of really good watches for content, and I'm hell I'm covered through July. Well, certainly through June and probably getting into July. So I've got plenty of content, and a lot of it is thanks to you and Chris over at Watch Lounge. So I appreciate that. And I'll also getting some good content from Random Rob. Um, that helps. Let's see. Private says right there, but the customer service is very good with the Islander and Zelos and Traska and Scrufa. Yep, I agree. They're all great people. They're all making great quality watches. I don't have any personal. Um, I haven't personally handled a Traska or a Scarfa yet, but I've heard from people that I trust that they are great people to deal with and great watches. But Zelos and Long Island Watch, I definitely have experience with, and I have hands-on experience with the Iconic and pardon and I can tell you the iconic prototype. The prototype would be ready to go, except for that band. But I mean, that bracelet is a disaster, but that can be dealt with easily enough. The watch head itself, that thing was ready to go. I did not want to send that thing back. But you do make a good point, Private. They are all those watches brands that you name. They're all under $400. So why is it worth it to pay $675 for an NTH? Uh, I don't know. I haven't had my hands on an NTH. I know Ivan has, and I know that um, the Random Rob channel, I think he just reviewed an NTH. I think it was maybe even this morning he put a video up on an NTH. Well, I know he's reviewed them in the past, so you might want to pop over the Random Rob YouTube channel and find some NTH videos and take a look at them and see what he says about them and what materials go into them. Um, and hey, I agree. $275 between a $400 watch and a $675 watch, $275 is not insignificant. I mean, that's buying a $400 watch and just about buying a Long Island watch, Highlander series watch. So why would you buy almost a whole nother watch worth of payment for an NTH? Unfortunately, I'm at a loss. I don't know because I haven't handled one. I don't know what goes into them to that degree. But Ivan seems to have a good handle on it. I think Random Rob would too. Hey, Chris, how you doing? I think, yeah, Watch Chris is also in the industry, and you just received an amphibian guilt. Private has actually mentioned that exact watch, so please, Chris, jump in. He's wondering um, why the difference in price on that particular watch compared to some other similar watches. So, any input you have, hit me. Cyrus says John Atraska is a good guy to connect with. I should probably try to, definitely. I know that Rob has a connection with him, so I could probably use that as like, hi, I'm one of Random Rob patrons. Help me out here. Ivan, I know the bracelet on the production iconic will be much better. I trust when you say that will happen, it will happen. Um, I don't hold the fact that somebody made a bad bracelet on a prototype watch against you. That would be stupid. I mean, it's a prototype for a reason. Um, Ivan also says, like I said, it's very subjective. Some brands pull in more and hold more value. It's hard to bring value perception back once the prices drop too low. Very true. Desire 68, anything is worth what you're willing to pay. If you like the item enough, you will pay the asking price regardless. Oh, absolutely. I've been arguing that for forever. Matter of fact, I started a rather controversial thread on the Facebook Zelos Timekeepers group where people have been whining for weeks about, oh, people are buying Zelos and then holding on to them for a week and then reselling them here for astronomical prices. I said, I'm sorry, it's their property. They can do with it whatever they want. They paid their money, they own it. They can charge whatever they want. You know what they say, a butt for every seat, a watch for every wrist. So if you're selling a watch and I'm willing to pay, a 50% markup on the watch because I want that particular watch, then, that's a transaction between two adults, who are both going into the transaction with their eyes open. You guys whining about it makes you just sound pathetic. So, if brand A is selling a watch and it's higher priced than a similar watch by brand B, but brand A offers a little something extra that brand B doesn't, and you know it and you're willing to pay it, then, pay it. If you're not willing to pay it, then don't pay it. It's as simple as that when you boil it down. Only 4 people in here right now. That's five now. So. But thank everyone for clicking the thumbs up button. I appreciate it. If you haven't done that already, I appreciate it. If you did, it kind of helps me out a little bit. Yeah, I just noticed something. The super chat button isn't there anymore, or is it? Somehow they turned off the super chat button. Well, that sucks. Not that I ever got a lot of super chats, but oh wait a minute, let me try something. No, it's there. That's my bad. That's I guess that's a function of the window that I was looking at. Sorry. My bad. My mistake. I thought they turned that off on me. I was about to get worried that YouTube didn't like me anymore. Let's see. Let's see. Private was watching a Watch Chris video about, I guess, about the NTH, so that's good. Let's see. Watch Chris saying they make a solid watch. The finishing is a little better than, say, a Zelos, but they aren't astronomically better. It's all about styling. Yeah, that's a good conclusion there. NTH watch finishing is very good. Let's see. No, that was my fault, Ivan. They did make some changes recently, but what I'm doing now is like I said earlier in the chat before you got in, I just yesterday set up a dual monitor setup. So I have a monitor over to my left here. That's where the video is, where I can see myself. Hi, myself. Yeah. And what I can do is I can break the chat window out and put it on my main monitor where the camera is right there. So it looks like I'm looking at the camera and at the chat box at the same time. And when I break the chat box out of the window into its own separate window, the little super chat icon for some reason disappears down there in the lower left. So I thought YouTube had done something to my channel, but when I took it away and put it back where it normally is down the side of the original window, the super chat button reappeared. So I say, it's not like I get a lot of super chats anyway, but I was worried that something had gone wrong with my channel. Which God knows with YouTube and with my proclivity for making bombastic statements all the time, they might get pissed off at me. Let's see, Watch Chris said, the thing is, most of these micros are made in the same factory and with varying degrees of finish. That's very true. Um, yeah, very true. And Ivan says, private, it was a Facebook post thread of mine, which, yeah, you saw that. Yeah, that thread lasted about a day, and then I guess Elshin woke up, uh, because they're what 12 hours ahead of us. Yeah, 12 hours ahead of us. So right now it's about 12:40 in the morning on Friday. Friday, Friday, Friday. So he woke up the next morning and he saw that thread with like a couple hundred comments, and it was getting ridiculous, and he shut it down. I can't really say that I blame him. By the way, what's everybody wearing today? I'm just curious. I am wearing my Zelos Mako Frost. That's the full loom dial. I love this little watch. I actually bought it off of Random Rob. I missed out the opportunity to buy the watch new and it sold out. And he was on Discord and he put the watch up for, out of the blue, he puts the watch up for $300. I said, it's mine. They didn't even think. They just said it's mine. So, um, I love this little watch. I like the Makos. They really are, and great bezel action. Not not too vocal, very smooth. Click. Nice watch. I really the Makos have been a home run. I can't think of any watch that Elshin ever made that was not a really really good watch, except the one watch that I ever bought that was a Zelos that I just absolutely didn't like. 5 minutes out of the box, I just hated it. Was the Chroma, very old, one of his first watches. Really nice looking watch. It had that lugless design where the strap was the lugs were in the watch head, not extended out like this. Um, but the crown was so small and so recessed into the case that I could never get my hands on it to wind it. I think I kept it for about a week and then I sold it. Just couldn't take it. So what else has anybody got? I think all the NASCAR guys left. That's a shame. Uh, I mean, I start these chats with the intention of trying to talk about just one subject, and it never seems to work out that way. So, oh well. I'll have to answer that later. Okay. Okay, I haven't asked to get back to work. Okay, I appreciate it. I'll message you in a little bit when those watches get here. I'm looking forward to it. Thanks for stopping by. I appreciate it definitely. Private. I hope I was able to help you out a little bit. Andrew Jenkins, fashionably late. Well, yeah, dude. I mean, we've been going for about 45 minutes. You're late, but hey, glad you're here. Glad anybody's here. Appreciate people always when they stop by. We're gonna go for a few more minutes and then I'll wrap up because I'm gonna have to move on to other things for the day, but not right now. Let's see. So private says, so in conclusion, from what has been said so far, they really should be around $400, but since they have built up their brand nicely and have a unique style, that's enough for people are willing to pay $675. I guess you could say that. I mean, well, for one thing, hi John Page, how you doing? Appreciate you stopping by. Um, Probably goes on to say they decided to charge 275 more because they can quote get away with it unquote. It's not that it is quote well worth it unquote in terms of price. Again, that is the that's if that were true in an objective point of view, of fact, that would be a damning statement to be sure. But well, for one thing, I'd have to know exactly which models you're comparing to. I mean, if it's which a specific Zelos model or a specific Seiko model or a specific this or that versus a specific NTH model. And then, I'd have to look up both of them and go through a point by point feature. I mean, maybe the NTH has a better crystal than the other watch, brand X. Maybe the NTH is using a double dome sapphire crystal versus a flat crystal. Or maybe, maybe brand X is using a mineral crystal. Or maybe the NTH is using a slightly better movement than brand X. Or, maybe it's a milled, maybe it's a bracelet versus a strap, or maybe it's a bracelet versus bracelet, but brand X has a stamped steel clasp versus a milled clasp on the NTH. Maybe it's the packaging. Maybe the NTH packaging is a little more elaborate than the other one. We all love the whiz bang um, watch boxes and everything. I mean, I just took in a watch the other day that I believe what was it hang on. Oh, yeah, it's a watch that I've reviewed, but I haven't released the video yet. That'll be coming in a little bit. I mean, the watch was, yeah, it's a nice watch. There's nothing wrong with it. I like the watch, but the box that it was in was, I mean, it was wood, and it was kind of a cherry wood, and it was polished, a piano polish, that piano finish, that really slick finish. I mean, the watch looked like it should have been made for an Omega. Um, Instead of for I guess you'd call it micro brand. And is a fantastic box, but those fantastic boxes cost money. So if brand X is doing a simpler, cardboard box with a little watch pillow and maybe a nice little inexpensive felt-like lining, and brand Y is doing a piano wood finished box with a leather lined box with a leather pillow and maybe a fancy hang tag. I mean, packaging costs money, so maybe NTH is doing more things with the packaging than the other folks. So, there are all kinds of factors that are going to go into the price. Maybe, like Ivan said, maybe the finish, or it was Chris that said, maybe the finishing level on the NTH is a bit higher. Maybe they spend a bit more time with polishing, or they decorated the movement, or they customized the movement in some way. A lot of these folks, I know that a lot of folks are buying like the Valjoux 7750s, and then they customize them a bit. Well, customizing costs money. So, if we're going to compare one watch to another, we have to get specific about that watch. Then you have to go through a point by point look at what the features are. I mean, and then you have to maybe even dive a little deeper. Let's look at the packaging. Let's look at any customization that was done. Let's look at the strap versus strap. Maybe one's a finer leather strap versus another. Maybe one's using leather strap, the other one is sending out rubber or NATO. There's a lot of factors that are going to go into price differences. Andrew Jenkins says, just had my Oceana from Kickstarter. Nice compressor watch. Have I had anything new? You mean purchased? I'm waiting on several watches. I just let's see. Today or tomorrow, I'm getting a watch in. It's not new, but it's new to me. It is actually a watch that I reviewed on this channel that was loaned into me by another watch collector, and he decided to sell the watch, and it hung around for a while, and then he lowered the price to the point where I just couldn't say no anymore, even though I was telling myself, no, don't do it. And then he lowered the price to where I had to say yes. So, yes, I did. I've got another watch coming in from Singapore. I'll do a review on that soon. Zelos is about to release, well, they just released the Horizon 2 earlier this week. I bought one for my dad, but not for myself, although he'll probably let me, review it. Um, and I know that Zelos is coming out with at least three more watches this year that I am going to buy. I've backed two Kickstarter campaigns. I've backed the Iconic, the Halo Climb from Iconic, and I always butcher this name, the Denzo or the Dienzo or whatever, the DZ3. Um, that was on Kickstarter. I backed that too, so I'm waiting for those two. They'll come in when they come in, basically. Um, I've got a bunch of videos already made. They're pre-staged. I've got four more. I'm looking at the icons right here on my screen. I haven't uploaded yet. I've got like five. One, two. I've got four uploaded that are scheduled to be released. One's releasing tomorrow, two next week, two the week after that. So I've got a whole bunch of watch videos coming. Most of them are loan-ins. Some of them are my watches. So um, you guys are not going to want for entertainment, I promise you. Let's see. Andrew says his Axios was a nice watch as well. You got the green one. I would love to get my hands on an Axios at some point. There's a multitude of watches I would love to get my hands on. Hopefully, I know Ivan has been sending watches in because I'm part of the Watch Reviewers network. So because of him and because of Chris from the Watch Lounge and Random Rob from the Random Rob channel, I'm getting a lot of watches in for reviews. I'm getting tour watches in. Just people loaning me watches because I loan them watches. Although I don't do that very often, I will do it on very occasionally if I know you and have trust. So I'm as far as my watch hobby is going, man, the YouTube thing is allowing me to live the dream. Really, I really believe that when I say it. I'm making a hell of a lot of money on this. You know, I'm not really making any money on this, but I didn't start doing this to make money. I started doing this because it was fun, because I like to talk about stuff, and this is a great way to do it. And get, well, for the most part, positive feedback. Although every once in a while, somebody pops in the comment section and just, not this comment section, but on the videos, and they just want to be a jackass, and just block, bye bye. But I love this hobby. I'm having a great time playing with watches. I get to play with my watches. I get to review other people's watches without financial risk. And of course, my dad's a collector too, so I get to play with his watches a lot. So having fun, living my best watch life. Let's see. Andrew says Elshin just doing another batch of Axios. Ironclad with two more colors. Oh yeah, yeah. Well, if I asked him, I bet he might do it. I did get a chance to review one of his other watches from. Oh no, it was Axios. It was the brass diver that he did. Um, that was a nice watch. I really enjoyed that watch. My dad actually owns that watch. It was a really nice watch. I got to play with it for a while. Chris asked me if I got the Zelos GMT version 2. Yeah, the Horizon version 2. I did and I didn't. I didn't buy one for myself, but my dad wanted one, and so I bought it for him. I bought him the teal version 2 uh, Horizon. He already has a Horizon version 1 in bronze with the green dial, and I already have a Horizon version 1 with the aventurine dial. I didn't want to get the Horizon version 2. I'm holding out for another GMT that he's going to release very soon. It doesn't have a name yet, but it's a 42 millimeter um, GMT that I'm definitely buying that one. I'm also buying the dress watch when it comes out and the titanium swordfish. I have my eye on a specific one of those, and I've been assured that I will get one. So I will get one. I will pay for it, but I will get one. Uh, Chris agrees that the teal is a good looking one. Yeah. And he wants to know about the tourbillon. Chris, if you've got $12,000 to give me, I will be more than happy to buy the Zelos tourbillon. Um, but if I had $12,000 in my pocket right now, it would not be going to a watch. It would be going to paying off my daughter's car and helping both my daughters pay for college. So I'm going to have to pass on the Halo watch for right now. Actually, if I had $12,000 and I was going to buy a watch, I would have already bought my Grail right now, which is I have my eye on long term. I have my eye on 2 watches right now. I want a Breitling Emergency, one of those ones that's based on the Breitling Aerospace, the Annie Digi. I want one of the Breitling Emergencies, preferably with the orange dial. And I also want an Omega Speedmaster from the Moon to Mars, specifically that one. Because that one has the 3 subdials, have pictures of the Earth and the Moon and Mars as the backgrounds to the subdials, and it's a fantastic looking watch. And that's those 2 watches I will own, but it's going to be a while, probably into 2021 before I can even think of going after one of them. I've got other expenses to deal with in 2020. Chris asks, the new or the old what? New or old what? I don't. Tell me what, Chris. Whiz free leak. My vid is hilarious. What vid? I'm not even familiar with your channel, sir. Chris says the emergency. Yeah, it's definitely one of the older emergencies. The new ones are a bit ridiculously big. I want one of the Breitling emergencies. It's an older one. As I said, it's based on the Breitling Aerospace, which is about a 40 to 42 millimeter. It's the analog digital. It has the analog hands. It has the dual digital displays, one on top, one on the bottom. I want one of those, preferably with the orange or the blue face. The orange would be the preference since I already have a blue-faced Aerospace, so I would want one of the orange faced emergencies. And they're going in about the $3,000 to $3,500 range. So, and the Omega from the Moon to Mars, they're going for about $6,000 to $7,000, depending on where you buy it and what condition they're in. Private says $12,000 invest in stocks. Not now. A little too volatile to my taste. I would probably invest in gold, actually. Maybe some stocks, but mostly gold. Your rule is not to pay ideally over $400 for any watch. It's a good rule. I mean, Random Rob says his sweet spot is in the $500 range. And you made exceptions for the Dorenzo. Dorenzo. Thank you. That's the watch I was thinking of. That's the other watch I backed on Kickstarter, the Renzo, the D. I think it's the DZ3. Nice watch. I'm really looking forward to that one. Although I have had no communication with the owner of that watch company, so past my my backing of it, that's it. Private says volatility is good. You've made money in stock. Yeah, some people are really good playing. I know several people in my family are really good playing in the market. Right now I want to play everything conservative because of the fact that I have two girls. One just graduated college and is in a master's program. The other one is starting her sophomore year. Um, and until those two get their own careers and stabilize their lives, I don't really want to play in anything that's too volatile. My risk tolerance is fairly low. Maybe when it's just me, and if I lose everything, it's only me that suffers, then I'm willing to play a little more. But right now, my risk tolerance is pretty low. So, the way people are talking right now about precious metals, and no, I am not a financial expert, and don't take any financial um, advice from me. But the stuff I hear out there about precious metals, uh, makes me think that that might not be a bad hedge for someone who's looking to play it safe. But I haven't made any decisions yet. You know, I'm more interested in acquiring groceries and toilet paper right now. So, and I'm preparing for hurricane season because hurricane season here starts a week from Monday, June 1st. Hurricane season starts, and the predictions are that it's going to be a somewhat active year. We've already had our first tropical storm for the year. I think its name was Arthur, and that was a week ago, and so that's early. So the fact that you got an early tropical system um, does not bode well for the upcoming hurricane season. Yes, Chris, I am in Florida. Fortunately, I'm in a part of the coastline of Florida that seems to be fairly well protected from getting direct hits. Although Irma, 3 years ago, um, made everybody realize that even though you live in a part of Florida that has some protection from hurricanes, you're still going to get hit. So, and because of the beer flu and the shortages that it's produced, I've started my hurricane prep early. Um, gathering stuff. Water, batteries, paper goods, things like that. Stuff that you can that's part of your hurricane survival. Um, so you were around Florida when Andrew hit. Okay, well that was the early '90s. That was a long time ago. If it weren't for Andrew, they call the building code in Florida now the Andrew code, because before Andrew there was a building code, and after Andrew and all the destruction that storm caused, they revised the building code throughout the state of Florida to make it so the new construction homes could handle it a hell of a lot better. Unfortunately, the house I live in is older than Andrew, but it has been upgraded all the time. Well, let's see. Let's see. Private is asking Chris, what do you think about the price premium of the NTH? Um, Private's interested in particular in NTH, the Amphion Vintage Gilt, and he's asking Watch Chris about it because he just reviewed it. So hopefully, Chris, you can answer that question, because I evidently I haven't been able to satisfy him. quite yet, which I'm sorry about that. Um, Forgive me while I answer a question. Hang on a minute. Hopefully that'll make him happy. Let's see, we've been going for a little over an hour now. I'm going to think about wrapping up pretty soon. I'm going to give Chris a chance to answer my friend Private here. Otherwise, I'm going to wrap up in the next few minutes because I got to move on to other parts of my day. Pardon me. Anybody else got any other questions, comments? Oh, that's interesting. Wish I could figure out a way to temporarily turn off those alerts. They are a bit distracting. Chris says, in answer to Private's question, he thinks it's a little overpriced considering it's a Miata 9000 series, but not out of the ballpark. It's really the style you're paying for. Well, that's another good opinion. Um, he also further says the ATH is a well-made homage to the Rolex and Tudor. That's some good. That's some good opinion on the NTH. Private, I would definitely go over to watch Chris's channel and give him a sub and watch some of his videos. I mean, I've gotten some great information and learned a bit off of Chris's channel. I try and find as many watch channels as I can and sum them up because I'm always trying to learn and I've learned most of what I know about watches from other watch people who are smarter than me, and I would say that Chris is smarter than me. Anyway, I am going to wrap the video, and oh, you can give me an NTH? Hey, I'd love that, man. Um, let's see. Are you on Facebook? Have we connected on Facebook? Because you can PM me about that. And okay, and you know how to find me on Facebook? Yes, no. Oh, well, while I'm waiting for him to tell me you can find me on Facebook. Yeah, I'm gonna wrap up. Oh, you're in the Zelos group too. Okay, just PM me on Facebook Messenger and let me know. I'll give you my address and so on. And if you can get me an NTH, I will be very much in your debt, sir. I would love to have an NTH in the channel to play with for a little while because I would love to be able to help guys like Private out when they bring up NTH. And I'd love to be able to do a comparison between an NTH and a Zelos. That'd be great. Hey, thanks, Private. I appreciate you coming by. And don't worry about you didn't dominate, you didn't take over the channel. This is why I do what I do. Because this was great information. So I appreciate you coming in. I appreciate you asking some really good questions. And keep doing it. And Chris, I think that'd be a great video too, and I will make that. I'll see which one it's most comparable to, and then I'll do a side by side with the Zelos and maybe even some other watches in my collection. So, I'm gonna wrap up. I'm gonna say thank you, everyone who stopped by, everyone who was giving me a thumbs up. If you're watching the chat after the fact, please click the thumbs up button. It does help the channel when you do that. It helps with the searchability from the algorithms. If you have comments, questions, or suggestions down below, I will answer them. I read them all. I answer them all. However, if you are nasty or otherwise being a jackass or stupid, I will delete the comment and I will block you. I just don't have time for that. If you're new here, or you've been here a while and you haven't already done so, please click the subscribe button and then click the bell icon next to it so that when I upload new content, you're alerted. I thank everyone who stopped by. A whole bunch of people stopped by, a whole bunch of thumbs up. I appreciate that. Great content, great questions. Appreciate y'all stopping by. Appreciate the support of the channel. I look forward to talking to you again real soon. I think I'll do another live stream next week. New videos coming. Keep an eye out for them. Stay safe, everybody. Appreciate you. Bye bye.